The depths below. It was a crisp autumn day when Claire and her friends decided to explore the shores of Loch Ness. They were on a school trip to the Scottish Highlands, and while the breathtaking landscapes captivated their attention, the prospect of spotting the fabled Loch Ness monster intrigued them even more. Claire, an avid believer in the mythical creature, had spent countless nights reading about Nessie's rumored sightings and the stories surrounding it. As they arrived at the picturesque loch, a mist hung low above the water, casting an eerie ambiance over the scene. The group gathered at the edge of the lake, where the dark, rippling water seemed to twist as if it was alive. Claire's heart raced with excitement. "Maybe today's the day we'll see her," she exclaimed. Her friends, Max, Sarah, and Tom, chuckled. Max rolled his eyes, while Sarah grinned. "I hope you're right. I brought my camera just in case." Tom, however, was mostly skeptical. "It's just a big fish story. There's no monster in there, Claire." Ignoring Tom's skepticism, they embarked on a boat trip across the loch, laughing and joking as they left the shore behind. The further they ventured, the thicker the fog became, cloaking them in a shroud that made the world beyond the boat feel distant and unknown. The shimmering water mirrored a gray sky, casting an unsettling feeling over the entire atmosphere. For 30 minutes, they drifted quietly, peering into the cold water, searching for any sign of life. Just as Sarah suggested they turn back, a movement caught Claire's eye. She squinted, her heart hammering in her chest. "There, something is there," she pointed into the dark waters. The group leaned over the side of the boat, eyes wide with anticipation and a sprinkle of fear. Something large glided just beneath the surface, a long, sinuous shape that seemed to weave in and out of sight. "Oh my God, it's Nessie!" Claire gasped, feeling the thrill coursing through her. But Tom shook his head. "It could be a log or something. Keep your expectations in check, Claire." Yet the tension mounted among them. Suddenly, the mist thickened more than ever, enveloping them in a gray cloud. Visibility dropped drastically, and they could hardly see each other's faces, let alone the surroundings. "This is creepy," Sarah shivered, glancing around nervously. Then came a deep, resonant splash, a sound like a massive weight breaking the water's surface. It startled them, sending adrenaline surging through their bodies. They looked at one another with wide eyes, concern etching their features. "What was that?" Max whispered uneasily. The boat bobbed violently as something struck it from beneath. "Whoa!" Tom shouted, leaning to balance it out. Just then, a shadow breached the water's surface, and the rumors of the infamous creature flooded Claire's mind. The shape was enormous, glistening with water droplets, and, there was no denying it, indistinctly reptilian. Claire felt her breath hitch in her throat. This wasn't some story or myth anymore. There was no logical explanation. Before they could react, the boat rocked perilously, and another forceful plunge sent them all tumbling toward the icy water. Screams filled the air, and Claire's instincts kicked in. She managed to grab hold of the boat's side while Sarah surfaced, sputtering, terrified. Tom and Max were struggling, clamoring for support. The mist pressed down heavily, as if the world was holding its breath. Amid the chaos, Claire caught a glimpse of an enormous head rising out of the water, long and sinuous. Its enormous eyes glimmered like dark coals as they locked onto her, and she could feel its ancient intelligence bore into her soul. "Claire, help!" Max's voice was frantic. The creature lunged forward just as Claire pulled herself up onto the boat, desperately reaching for Tom, who was slipping beneath the surface. The water churned, and she heard a rumbling growl resonate from the depths below, a sound she would never forget. The waves surged, and Claire felt the anger of the loch itself. Without thinking, she leapt into the water to grab Tom. The moment she plunged into the frigid depths, a wave of darkness surrounded her, thick and heavy. With every ounce of strength, Claire fought against the current and pulled Tom toward her. As she breached the surface, Nessie surfaced with them, thrashing violently. The water roared around them, a theater of fear. Just as Claire managed to throw Tom to the boat, she glanced back, Nessie's eyes bore into hers, and in that moment, a shiver of understanding coursed through her. This creature was not a monster, it was a guardian of its own realm, protecting its secret and its territory. With a final, defiant splash, Nessie submerged deeper into the loch, disappearing into the shadows. Claire gasped for air, clutching the side of the boat as they pulled themselves in, hearts pounding, breaths hitching. Drenched and shivering, they didn't need to discuss what had happened. They each understood. Nessie was real, but together they had awakened something ancient and wild. As the boat returned eerily to shore, the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the loch, hiding the secrets of what lurked in its depths. They had come searching for a myth, but what they found was something they would carry forever, a reminder that some mysteries are better left undiscovered.